Well, hello and welcome back to the Tao Manifesting Tarot, the most unusual tarot reading anywhere. I've done tarot for the past 20 years. In that time, I have discovered, from my point of view anyway, tarot does not help you do anything but manifest. It doesn't predict anything, but it does kind of activate or give you the potential to activate your ability to manifest, to create pictures inside of your own brain, not from some laptop, desktop, smartphone, AI. New. From within you. That's where the power comes. So, tarot does not predict, but it shows you the potential in the frequency message. And I don't do rainbows or unicorns or lollipops. No fantasy here. We live in perilous times, and that's probably an understatement. We're seeing the money people taking over business after business. They're now going after the utilities, the power companies. Watch your power bills increase. One, because they want more profit, but two, they need more energy for their data farms. They want to collect all the data on you every moment of every single day. That takes a lot of energy, and so they need a lot more power. That's going to make energy of all kinds more expensive, which means we're going to be less served. So this is not a fun, ha-ha kind of time. It's a serious kind of time. The reading reflects that. And we do it through tarot. We focus on the human kryptonite manifesting, making the pictures in your own imagination. Today's Tao Manifesting Tarot, the deepest connection. Without a doubt, we're going to talk about the deepest connection any human being can have, and that is with your spirit. Today's tarot frequency is the destination. That's where we're headed. But there's a map that we can follow. And we do that with astrology and numerology because tarot is the science of potential, but now we got numerology and astrology. They are the science of cycles upon cycles upon cycles. I've done tarot for 20 years, numerology and astrology for 50. And I find combining all of these really gives us a big picture that's very, very helpful. And we'll talk about that big picture in just a moment. I want to remind you while I have the chance, I'm thinking about it. I have a single email address these days. I've kind of cleaned up the information exchange. I now use tau-tarot at proton.me, tau-tarot at proton.me. I want to get off the Gmail stuff. I want to try to get off the main track as much as I can. I can't do it entirely, but I'm working in that direction. That gives you and I more connection, gives us more power. So the email that you can use to connect me, and I check every day, tau-tarot at proton.me. All righty. That said, let's get back to the business at hand. We're looking for the energetic cycle. And that's what I use the tarot for, to tap into it. I got 3 cards. They together combined create a frequency, and we connect with the feeling and we act on it. In fact, you want to look at it a different way, create a picture in your head. The numerology and astrology are like a table setting. You're having a beautiful meal. And so the numerology and astrology are the flatware, the dishes, the glasses, and just this beautiful setting. And the tarot is the meal. Enjoy the meal. We're setting the table for you. So let's begin with the Tao Manifesting Tarot reading. We begin with something that I refer to as astrologic. Now, for the past month or longer, I have been focused on a common idea, the conquest of America. And I'm doing that because that really is the story of America. Way back 1492, when Columbus sailed the ocean blue and came over to the New World as it was known then, that's when the conquest of America began. But it got real serious in around 1600 to 1700. That's when the Rothschilds and people like them created the Bank of England. See, the King of England needed money for war because, well, that's what kings do. So he didn't have any, and he went to the rich people, Rothschilds et al., and said, "Hey, guys, help me out. I need money to fight." They said, "Sure, we'll help you out, but there's something we want. We want to create the Bank of England." Now, even though the name says the Bank of England, you guys don't have any part of it. I mean, you can buy shares or stocks or whatever you want to do, but we're going to control the Bank of England. So the rich people, the Rothschilds and the rest of them, decided that they were going to set up the Bank of England. They loved the name, they loved the power, they loved the focus, and they took over. From that point on, England was owned by the rich, and since the American colonies were, well, the property, if you will, of England, guess what? Those same bankers tried to control the colonists. Now, it was a little more difficult in those days, but they tried. In fact, the Boston Tea Party was because of the fact the Rothschilds owned the British Tea Company. Remember, people in the colonies were British primarily, and they drank tea. So tea was really important. Was their, next to ale, I suppose, their preferred beverage. And the Rothschilds and the rest of them who owned the tea company, they squeezed hard. That's where they got the taxation without representation thing. But once America went into the revolution and surprisingly conquered England, Rothschild said, "No, no, no, you're not going to leave us behind. We're going to set up Wall Street. We're going to set up the stock market stuff. And we're going to start up a Bank of America," or I think it was the Bank of the United States, something like that. They had one for 20 years. 1811, the deal ran out, and they tried to re-up. They had a little bit of a problem. That's why they created the battle again between Britain and the United States in 1812, because Meyer Rothschild, the man who ran the Bank of England and the Rothschild family, said, "You guys are impotent. You're just little pawns. You're pieces of shit. You will do what we tell you." And so they went to war in 1812. Again, America won. That point, some in America said, "Okay, let's give them their bank, their second bank of the United States, whatever the hell it was, and give them another 20 years. At the end of that second 20 years, Andrew Jackson came in and said, "No, no, 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 I'm not going to do it. It's me or the bankers." Bankers did try to assassinate Andrew Jackson. They failed, but he was able to lock them down until Lincoln. Lincoln said, "I got two enemies. I got the people in the South who want to break away. My biggest enemy are the bankers." Bankers killed him. That was the reason for his assassination. Slavery and all that stuff was just cover story. And from that point forward, we tried to put the Humpty Dumpty thing back together again, called the United States. And that was the time of invention. That was the time of the Gilded Age. The rich became obnoxiously rich. They controlled everything. And the 1880s is really all about that. So we're going to look at 1885 to 1890. There was tremendous technical growth. We had the phonograph, electricity, we had telegraphs, railroads, and more. It was just oozing out of America. So tech, big tech for the day. That was tremendous. Also tremendous was the wealth growth, because the rich got so much richer, had so much more control, to the point where they officially closed down the western frontier. They said, "No, Ma, we don't have to go out. We got control of it. We got the railroads going across. We got the telegraphs going across. We got the people going across. We got it control." And they leaned very hard. The days of the independent West were gone. Also, between 1885 and 1890, something reared its ugly head. We'd seen it before, but it really, they were pretty cocky in this time period. The rich figured we were above the law, like they do today. And so political corruption and a corrupt economy developed. It became very obvious. You couldn't hide it. And it was the time of the rise of powerful business trusts. The people with the money were in charge. They were going to stay in charge at all costs. And one of their eventual goals is to finally get that damn Bank of America. 1913, they succeeded, and our life has never been the same since. We'll get to that in a couple of segments. But 1885, 1890 was when we shut the West down. We said we owned it all. We have the tech. We're controlling everything. Everything, whether you like it or not. So let's take a look at the astrology. Saturn and Neptune were in a favorable aspect to one another. So we're talking about structure and dreams. Can also be holding back our dreams, being lied to. And a lot of people in America really were being lied to. Everything was expanding, everything was growing. We were seeing out west develop, we were seeing the tech develop, we were seeing all kinds of stuff happening that was supposedly good. It was actually taking away our freedom. That's the Saturn Neptune working together. Doesn't just because they work together doesn't mean it has to be good. Jupiter Saturn were not working well together, and that was that little dose of reality where people went, I get it. You're trying to control. Well, they didn't have the technology. The rich didn't have the technology to be able to control everything. So if you were in 1890 able to get out to somewhere in Wyoming, Montana, somewhere in the Rockies, hell, they didn't even know you were there. Frankly, didn't even care. They were solidifying their hold on the western side of America. They were going to control everything and everybody. They just didn't get to you yet. So we got Saturn and Neptune in a favorable position, but all that means is that the energy flows. Doesn't mean that good stuff's coming from it. Jupiter and Saturn, not so friendly. That was kind of the little slap of reality. Look what they're doing to us. And then finally, we had Pluto and Uranus in a very favorable aspect. But again, just because it's favorable doesn't mean it's good. What it means is the rich, the Pluto, were pushing hard for change. So fast, in fact, that you don't have a chance to think. That's why, for example, when you ever go buy anything, you got a salesman around you. What do they try to do? Hurry you, hurry you, hurry you. Fast, fast, fast. Make a decision. You got to make a decision. Time's running out. That's kind of the way it was. The rich were in control. They were going for broke. They were going for everything that they could do. And they were going to take away everything that they could from everybody else. 1885, 1890, tech, wealth, closing the West, corruption. Those were some of the key ideas back then. Let's take a look at the meme for today. I saw this and I had to toss it in. Come on, inner peace. I ain't got all day. Kind of the way we feel, huh? You feel, I feel. Yeah. The clock is ticking and they're locking us down. You got these private investment companies like BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, those people who are buying up everything. Right now, they're focused on utilities, power, focusing on hospitals. You think you're getting. It's funny, when I was growing up, 70s, 80s, people looked at Russia as being a terrible place. Oh, look how rotten everything is. Well, with the private money people taking over all the businesses, things are getting rotten, and you ain't seen everything yet. So come on, inner peace. I ain't got all day. I get you. Missing link? You can pray all you want, but eventually David had to pick up a stone and act against Goliath. This is the little missing link piece I send out to these people, and I'm so damn tired of them. A lot of them in astrology. You gotta just meditate, man. You gotta let the vibes come in, man. We got these cosmic forces, man. You got faith? Get up off your ass and do something about it. And that's what this is all about. You can pray all you want, but eventually you got to back up that prayer with activity. So let's go to the tarot. First card, Queen of Cups. Kings make the proclamations, but it's the queens that often do the hard work. They lay the foundation. They're the ones that say, okay, hey, this is the way it is. And so we're looking at the Queen of Cups. Cups are emotional connections, not necessarily romantic, but they're emotional connections that we cannot give up. So you need to look at yourself first in a caring and intuitive way. What is it that you really need? Not just want, need to be a better person, have a better life, have more control. That's number one on the list. Number two, we got the second queen, Queen of Wands. If you can handle the Queen of Cups, if you can connect emotionally, spiritually with yourself in a positive way, Queen of Wands comes in and gives you enthusiasm, gratitude, joy. But you need the Queen of Cups. You need to give yourself that pat on the back, that invisible hug, to trust yourself. To do that, you will then unlock enthusiasm, joy, happiness. You'll be connected to your life again, because right now most people are not connected. And the final card, the Chariot. You're gentle with yourself, but firm. You're finding out what you need to plug into a life that means something. The Queen of Wands says, guess what? Now that you're plugged in, now you're getting that joy back. Now you're getting that purpose back. Now you feel connected. And that's the time the Chariot card takes over and says, okay, time for willpower and self-control. Because you notice, looking at the card here, he has nothing holding these two Sphinx type things, whatever they are. He is guiding them with his emotion. He's guiding them with his spirit. He's guiding them with his mind. Love yourself. Enjoy yourself. And take those feelings and start to direct your life. Willpower, self-control. It's not going to be an easy trip, not going to be a fast trip, but man, it is a necessary trip. You basically have to be your own soulmate. That's the deepest connection. And it may be the most difficult, but it's without it, you don't want to know the storyline. So we're out of time. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it every single day. It gives me something extra special good. I hope I return the favor. Back again tomorrow. Between now and the next time you and I have a chance to do tarot, I want you to remind you to like and subscribe, like and subscribe, like and subscribe. Please, it's vitally important. Not just for me, but for all podcasters. If you get anything out of this, like and subscribe. Between now and the next time you and I get together and do this tarot manifesting thing, peace and blessings.